It's no secret that Rob Manfred wants a salary cap. I think that that's clear. And it's not Rob Manfred talking on behalf of Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball. It's Rob Manfred talking on behalf of owners with whom he reports, to whom he reports, where he's keeping count. And you know, is nothing personal aficionados, you know that the magic number is 23. You need 23 owners to accomplish something, which means 8. There's a total of 30. If you get 8 owners to think that the sky is purple, then unfortunately, there's no way to prove the sky is blue because 8 people can stand up and block that vote. So what you're seeing is a major PR strategy that is being used by both the commissioner and the union to start positioning themselves for when CBA negotiations start in earnest. They've already started between the union and the league publicly. There are things they meet about privately, but the actual start of CBA negotiations, when you're actually at a table starting to go through the previous agreement, how you're going to make changes, what those changes are going to be, that becomes the official first session. It gets marked. It's like the law. There's labor laws. You have not had that yet, but you will. What I found fascinating is that when Rob Manfred, and we covered this when he talked, remember when Liberty had their investor conference because they're a public company, and Rob Manfred talked about a few things, and we went through it here on a recent Nothing Personal. I figured the union had to strategize how they'd respond, and I must tell you, I did not think that their response would be Bruce Mayer going on Foul Territory. Now, of course, you know that Foul Territory is a show that is funded by the union. And I love Foul Territory. They're my friends, been on it, and I want them on my show. But let's be clear, those are players, and that is a union show, which is totally important and needed, and their point of view is critical, and it's a popular show. You had me at Foul. But when Bruce Mayer went on that show, it's like there's a home court advantage. It's like softball after softball, which gives Bruce an opportunity to get messages out there in public, except the messages were really meant for the owners and the negotiators on the commissioner's side. And what Bruce was doing was impugning Rob Manfred and the statements Rob Manfred was making about salary caps and about how good a salary cap would be for players. Because you remember that Rob had said, I don't know, players. Your union may not want it, but you should. You guys would have made like a couple $1 billion more if you had just had payrolls tied to revenue and we landed at 49 to 50% like the rest of the salary cap leagues. You guys are missing out. Well, Bruce Mayer took advantage of that statement, as well he should have. Because I believe what Rob did by saying directly to the players over the head of Tony Clark and his deputy Bruce Mayer, by talking directly to players, which I completely promote, and I love the concept and did it myself. But you got to walk the line very carefully. Because if talking to the players, if you basically say to the players, your leadership stinks, your plan stinks, it tends to get people defensive. It tends to get the union leadership to have to clap back, to have to say, no, we don't stink. We represented you to the best of our abilities, and you got yourself the best deal possible that was available. And in fact, what the commissioner is trying to do is be divisive. He's trying to drive a wedge between leadership and players. It's not like we had an arbitration grievance decision that we didn't release to you. It's not like we didn't keep you in touch. It's not like we didn't suggest that you not do the CBA, but you all players suggested that you do. You remember that little fact? Because that should be the overarching thing that you always think about as these CBA negotiations continue. The reason why Rob wants to talk directly to the players is because of the way the vote happened in the last CBA, where union leadership, the executive council, all voted against the CBA, but every player rep voted for it. And enough player reps voting for it means whatever the executive council wants becomes irrelevant. They can't block the players from approving a CBA. And if the players were willing to vote against the executive council in the last round, as commissioner, you've got to believe they're willing to do it this round, which means talking directly to them makes sense. Which means if you're going to go on your home show, Foul Territory, instead of talking about what the commissioner did wrong, you ought to be saying something else. Hi, my name's Bruce Mayer. I'll be representing you along with Tony Clark in these next collective bargaining agreement negotiations. And my commitment to you is that we will negotiate a contract that all of us will want to vote for. We will be on the same page, unlike last time. We will make sure that when we get together and we go through the salient points that interest you, my voting block members of the union, my players with under 3 years experience, my team reps who have to answer to players on teams who know they're never going to hit free agency, we're going to communicate everything. We're going to over-communicate to make sure that when it comes time to vote, that we stand united. We will not allow anyone to divide us because together we stand and divided we fall. Now, that would have been a great use of going public for what Bruce Mayer did. I'm not sure that his plan is going to work, just as I'm not sure Rob's plan is going to work, which is why I'm pretty sure we're going to have a significantly 4869, which is why I am sure there is going to be a lockout that will last a significant period of time. Now, think about this. Salary cap, salary floor, they go together like peanut butter and chocolate. I never wanted a salary floor that wasn't going to be paid for because I knew that there were years that our payroll was going to be less than a salary floor. Well, the players want a salary floor, but owners are not willing to give them a salary floor without a salary cap. Players and owners all know that there's going to be a salary floor and a salary cap, or there's going to be neither. There can't be one, period. The good news is that when you've got players in your union who are already speaking up, who already are taking an interest, when you've got union leadership that is answering to players, that is communicating with players, that cares about its membership, you are already so many steps ahead of the NFL, where that group of people, there is such a disconnect where union leadership is totally off on its own, getting paid millions of dollars, making decisions for those players that those players are despondent about, have no idea about, and now they've got a mess on their hands the size of Joey Chestnut's stomach after the July 4th hot dog eating contest. And in order to fix that mess, the NFL Players Union is going to have to make some changes. MLB's union leadership does not want to lose their jobs after just having survived a coup attempt. And in order to keep their jobs, they know communicating with the masses, it's going to be critical. So when you're going on Foul Territory, talking to Rob Manfred and talking to the audience, you're also, and importantly, talking to your members. You are letting them know that we are totally with you, hearing your complaints, your issues, and we will deal with them one at a time and together. So the commissioner, who's trying to be divisive, as we always are, it's not going to work this time because of what's going on in the NFL. The MLB situation, they're going to be uber sensitive to any sort of divisive talk or any sort of break in the union membership, break in the ranks. And that's another reason why it's going to be a problem when they both sit at the table, look at each other and say, lockout? It's just business.